Welcome to the Raising Values podcast, where the traditional family talks. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can support the Raising Values podcast through Patreon. Phil and Gillian are behind the mic, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Raising Values.
Good morning, everybody.
I so exceed in annoying my wife. It's quite fun,
Yes.
especially
Yes.
right before we go live.
Yeah, I had to tell him to stop. Anyway, good morning and welcome to Raising Values. And Christmas is upon us. That is what Phil has named this episode. We we kind of were just like, what do we talk about? And then last night, of course, we were over at your sisters and brother-in-law, and
But we
were talking about Christmas and doing Christmas things. So
yeah, normally they're good for tossing a topic our way, but yesterday was just a full court press trying to do, spend some
yes.
time together, and it was a business meeting.
yeah, we try to have family dinners at least once a month. But with them being in the medical emergency, what is that called? Well, he's a
First responders.
first responder. Thank you. He's a police officer. She works for a very busy ambulance service over here. So getting together is sometimes it's easy. Sometimes we do it okay. But then, yeah. So yesterday was also our Cypress Survivalist board meeting. And if you haven't heard about Cypress Survivalist, that is our new nonprofit that we have started. It was a dream of Phil's to get it off the ground, and we have. And so we have an event coming up on March 8th. It's our first event ever for Cypress Survivalists. It's called the Get Ready event. It will be here in Mandeville, and there will be more info. We are officially going to launch that event on January 6th. So I am busy working on marketing material now that we have a name for the event. So that's coming up. Cypress Survivalist. Check us out, Instagram, Facebook, follow along. I think Bex is going to try to get a TikTok going, but supposedly TikTok is about to shut down again for the third time. I don't know. I'm not on TikTok, so I don't really follow the news on TikTok.
TikTok's not really my generation, to be honest.
And I've been really trying to keep up with posts for the nonprofit on Instagram and Facebook, but life gets in the way, and social media is not my favorite thing to work on. So I don't know what to tell you. Follow us anyway, but I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah. Kyle asked if we're going to make patches to try to support Cypress Survivalists. I mean, it's something we've talked about.
Yeah, we've actually had someone, it was my cousin who, he lived in Colorado. I don't know where he is now, but he asked when we were making patches and something else. I can't remember, but when I designed the logo, I drew from inspiration from state park logos and patches. And so I thought, how fitting. And so, yeah, we're going to be looking for people to, we want to do embroidered logos though, not
like the PVC patches.
The PVC patches, like matter of facts. Yeah. So we'll look at that. Right now though, Kyle, since it's your question, it's going to be a while before we get patches going. Those are not cheap, by the way. Anyway, right now for Cypress Survivalists, we're working on getting our 501c3 status, which I'm going to do today, and then we'll go from there. So, but March 8th is our event in Mandeville, Louisiana at Fontainebleau State Park. Classes start at 8 o'clock. You can kind of pick and choose. We'll have educational booths that you can visit. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. We hope to see y'all there. So that's that. You don't have any banners to help me remember, do you? Merch.
Just the usual merch.
Okay,
links.
merch. Yeah. So, you want to do this one?
I'll help you out on this.
Okay.
So the links, if you're interested in our merch for Raising Values, or for matter of fact, are down in the show description. Same with Same with actual links for Cyber Survivalist. Those links are also in the show description.
Oh,
Try to
good.
make it easy to find.
That's a good director. Producer. What are you?
I don't know. I'm just
Okay.
here.
And then the signal chats for patrons. We do have some fun, exciting news that we're hopefully going to announce this week, and it is the annual patron camping trips, our family camping trip that we take every year. And every year it seems to grow bigger and bigger, which is always fun. We go all over the country. We went Arkansas 2 years in a row, Tennessee last year, and this year we are going to Michigan, in the Upper Peninsula, or the UP.
It's actually not the UP. It's like a bridge ride across from the UP.
Okay, well, I don't know Michigan's. I didn't realize Michigan was such a large state.
Where the campground is, you know how it's like right up against a body of water?
I
That's
know you got to
what's.
take that up to the UP.
Yes.
But anyway, Andrew has been working very diligently trying to make everyone happy. And we finally found a place that will accommodate our large group where we are all together. And I'm hoping it will only be the MOF Raising Values patrons that are there, because it's not a huge state park kind of thing. So if you are a patron, be sure to follow on the patron chats for information. It is a patron only event, so unless you have special invitation,
There's a
but
very
that's
small
just,
number.
yeah.
There's a very small number of people that are like privately invited that are not patrons, but usually it's people that like we've camped with before for years. So
Yeah, they kind of just become family before all of this even happened. So, but yeah, it should be fun. It's going to be a 2 day drive for us. Usually it's a 1 day, between 8 and 10 hour drive for us to get to our camp spot. But this year it's a 2 day drive, but I'm really excited about it because we're actually going to take a very long vacation with this one,
mhm.
much needed one, and see a part of the country that we've never seen before. We get to hang out with Andrew and his crew. So I'm really excited for that. But that should be hopefully coming this week. So
Yeah,
patrons beware.
we
And
literally
then,
we literally couldn't make reservations until we were 6 months out from the date. So like
yeah,
we pretty well settled on this is where we want to go, but those dates are literally not available yet. So we're
yeah, they're
waiting
not
until
available on
January.
their calendar. So we got to wait for that. So there. And one last order of business, that is not in a banner, but I want to announce it now. Raising Values, me and Phil will be taking a break from the show for not indefinitely. This is not like the last show, and next week we will be on. But I have some family things going on. My dad has to have major heart surgery, open heart surgery, on January 3rd. And my mom is not healthy enough to really take care of herself by herself. And if you ever have known someone to go through heart surgery, open heart surgery, it is a big deal. It is a very major, major surgery. So I will be helping my parents for the foreseeable future, which means that Phil and I have decided that I cannot burn myself from both ends. And so something has to give. And one of the things that's going to give is to not be on every Sunday right now. So yeah, I'm a little upset about that because I do love talking to y'all and do love doing the podcast. Um, but I'm already exhausted. I'm already burned out. And so we're just going to take a break from this. But I think we'll probably announce like, hey, Gillian has enough wind in her sails to do a show this weekend. So be on at 10 o'clock or you're going to miss it. And there's no telling when they're going to be back on. But we will have a show next week. So this week and next week, those will be our last shows for a little bit. Mainly because,
It's kind of hard to have a show when your host is out of pocket, you know.
yes, no telling where I'll be or what I'll be doing or whose hand I will be holding or what I'll be doing. But
And I'll be back filming here at the house, so
Yes, and Phil will be taking care of things here. So it's just something that you have to do when your family needs you. And Phil's been there. Same surgery. Um, it was rough. Uh, the recovery was rough for your dad, and I remember the surgery when my grandmother went through it, and that was rough for my grandmother. So I can't imagine that this is going to just be a walk in the park for my father, who already has out of control diabetes and can barely walk. So prayers, good vibes, send thoughts, whatever. If you have a little bucket of sanity that you'd like to send, I will accept that as well. So
Best I could do is bourbon.
I don't drink, so drinking is not going to be an
I
option.
meant for me.
Yeah, well, yes, you will need that bourbon. Even an unopened bottle over here is for you. So, um, yeah, Stuart says the house decor is going to be flannel and camo when I get back.
You say
I
that like that's a downside.
I
That's a
don't know
feature,
about
not a
that.
flaw.
Christmas will be taken down before the 3rd. Usually we keep it up until that weekend before we go back, which I guess is the weekend before we go back for Christmas. But yeah, he has surgery on the 3rd. So yeah, fun times at the Rabelais house, and
Really
that's
though?
that's our little announcement for now. But we'll keep in touch with everybody, and then we'll really get back into the swing of things for sure. But I'm sure a lot of it's going to be sitting. For me, it's going to be sitting and taking care of people who are asleep and whatever. But so you can always reach out to me on the Signal chats or Messenger or whatever. If you have a phone number, you can text me too and whatever. So that's that. Fun times. I'm not excited to make that announcement, but I think it is required for me to not feel so burned out.
She's fidgeting with a fidget while doing this.
Yeah, one of my students made me a fidget. It's actually supposed to be a Christmas ornament, but it has become a fidget. I am a fidgeter, and I actually have buckets of fidgets in my classroom for kids, and this has become my thing. I need a fidget, so I have a fidget. So if that's what I'm doing, I'm fidgeting. Anyway, so Christmas is upon us.
Hmm.
We are so excited. We've kind of talked about some of our Christmas traditions and things that we do for Christmas in the last episode and probably years ago, a year or so ago. But yeah, so we were we were just kind of like last night, what are we going to talk about again? Because that seems to be the theme. That is like the same question as what's for dinner? What do you want to eat for dinner tonight? Which is my least favorite question ever. Least favorite question.
Do we want to go there?
I mean, that's not what the show's about.
She doesn't want to go there because what happens is that she asks what I want, and I say I don't care, and then she says I have to pick, and then whatever I pick, she doesn't want, which immediately means if you don't want what I want, you have to pick something. You can't not care what we eat and care what we eat at the same time. It doesn't work.
Well, and Piper used to be a somewhat picky eater. So I want to make something that everybody's going to enjoy. And most of the time I'm too tired to cook anyway, so it's going to be something easy. Um, I I think I'm a good cook.
You are.
I am. But I just sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to cook. I just really don't want to cook. And we do have a rule in our house that whoever cooks doesn't clean the kitchen.
Which I
So
violate frequently because I usually cook and I usually clean while things are cooking.
yeah, he does violate that. And it does make me a little upset because I do want to do my part. But I appreciate your help and everything that you do to carry the load. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. That's the appropriate response is thank you, husband. Not stop cleaning.
Stop clean. I do. I'm usually sitting in the living room and I'm like, stop cleaning the kitchen. I'm coming to clean the kitchen.
Not that this has anything to do with the topic, but I can remember and I don't want to say angry, quite a spirited discussion you and I were having one time because like I was folding clothes and you were like, I can do that later if you leave it, and I'm like, no. Either you come over here and help me fold the clothes now because I want them folded now, or you sit there and I'll fold them. But they're getting folded right now. Wait till later is not happening because I have other things to do later.
So Stuart put in the comments tacos, and
Tacos are not always a surefire thing though.
Well, I get tired of tacos. Time out. Let me clarify. I get tired of home tacos. I never get tired of restaurant tacos.
I get tired of spending $80 to take the three of us out to go eat
I
tacos.
know. So tacos aren't always a thing. Y'all are not big on red sauce, so I don't cook a lot. Well, I know you are, but Piper's not a big thing on red sauce. But Piper's thing now is, Mom, just cook it and I'll eat it. And it's like, it can't be that easy.
Thank you, Stuart. He just asked, "What is wrong with you?"
What is wrong with me about what, Stuart?
That
Not,
you get tired of
I
tacos.
get tired of home tacos.
What's the matter with home
They're
tacos?
not restaurant tacos. There's no queso, there's no salsa, no good salsa, because I don't like store-bought
Then
salsa.
why don't we learn to make our own salsa? Hardhead? Because you want restaurant salsa.
Why are you coming at me with all of these alternative ways to fix problems when I just want to go to the restaurant?
Because the restaurant costs $80 every time we go.
Red beans and rice. Kyle, red beans and rice. I know we have talked about this, but when Phil and I got married, we had no money, no money. So we would shop the discounted meat section at Winn-Dixie because it was expired. So we would have pork chops and red beans and rice
And peanut butter
almost
sandwiches.
on the daily. And I remember looking at Phil when we moved into our house and I said, I am not eating red beans and rice and pork chops ever again. Don't make it. I won't eat it. It will go bad in the fridge. Don't. I don't want it. I don't
So I
want it.
make red beans and rice, and then I usually eat it for the next 3 or 4 days.
Well, it took some time, but there are times when I call home when we're leaving school. I was like, "Have you thought about dinner?" And you say no, of course. And then I'll say, "Well, just make red beans and rice."
And then I usually start making the red beans and rice after I wake up from passing out.
I had to think about what I was like. Why are you passing out? What are you
Because my
talking about?
wife said
Because
make red
I
beans
said
and
red beans
rice.
and rice. Well, yeah, and then so Kyle says in the comments, red beans and rice are survival food. Well, eventually, maybe one day, that's all I'm going to eat is red beans and rice again, right? So why do I want to eat it now?
But see, you and I talked about this. Like, to me, red beans and rice are comfort food. Like that's always been a comfort food for me is red beans and rice and some sausage and some cornbread. It is, I understand it's simple. It's not like, a high class meal, but if I'm having a bad day, 9 times out of 10, that's what I want. It's just comfort food to me, which it's anti-comfort food to you for the reasons already expressed.
I don't
But
know. It's okay. Especially now how you make your beans. I like how you make your beans now.
oh, you mean where I put in some extra red kidney beans so they're not quite as saucy soupy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like how you do that. Maybe we'll have red beans and rice for dinner tonight.
I thought I was taking you and Piper out for hibachi.
Oh, see, he does things like that, and then I remember why I married him and why I love him so much.
Cooper.
We'll do red beans and rice tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow is Monday, and and it is a tradition here in Louisiana. You make red beans and rice on Mondays, because that was the laundry day, and so you put your red beans in a pot a pot of
soak.
water to soak while you did your laundry. And rice was nothing to cook. It didn't take long to cook, and so yeah, Mondays are red beans and rice. Sometimes you have the fried fish with it, but Mondays are red beans and rice day. It's a tradition in Louisiana. Anyway, to the topic, which is not food, although that is my love language, is food.
But yeah, Christmas is upon us. I mean, right today it is the 22nd. It will be the 24th when y'all are hearing this in audio format.
Oh yeah,
And
that's New Year. I mean, that's Christmas
it'll
Eve.
actually be after Christmas by the time this
Sorry.
rebroadcast on the Prep Broadcast Network feed. But give us some, give us that. Right now, today for us, it is the 22nd. So like, I don't know what needs to be said about Christmas. Like it is a season where we celebrate like spending time with family. It's a season where we celebrate, the act of giving. And gift giving to me is like one of those things that like I feel like it kind of almost obscures what Christmas really is because people get lost in the presents and the wrapping paper and the actual gift being given rather than the spirit of giving, if that makes sense. Like I've
Well,
you
Christmas has become so
oh
commercialized,
God,
and
yes.
what's the other word? Where you
Institutionalized,
yes, but oh, I can't think of the word. Where you spend the money.
expensive.
Just keep going. I'll think of the word.
Okay.
Communist keeps coming to my
Capitalist.
capitalist. Thank you. I need another cup of coffee this morning.
Here,
No,
get
not from your cup. That's gross. It is. I don't like drinking after people. Anyway, shut up,
I had
Phil.
a thought that I'm gonna have to keep to myself.
You will.
Consumerism. Thank you, Stuart.
Consumerism. Thank you, Stuart. That is why you're here. That is why we keep you around to help me with my
That's
words.
not the only reason, but
Well, no, it's
thanks
not.
for backing me up when I couldn't figure out what the heck she was talking about
It's
either.
not. It's communistic. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel like people get lost in this idea that like it's the gift that is the whole point of the season. When to me, it's like no, it's not the gift; it's the act of giving. Because like I can remember times in our starting in a couple of months, we will have been together 20 years. 20 years,
I'm so proud of that.
and my neck hasn't been wrung yet, so that's quite noteworthy.
Well, that's why you started growing a beard so that the bruises couldn't be seen.
Well, that and it's good cushioning. It's like neck guard.
I'm just kidding, Mom and Dad. I know you're watching. I don't choke your son.
Whenever I wake up from her choking me, I give her a good shaking and it kind of resets her a little
Anyway,
bit. But I know that in our nearly 20 years together, like we've had moments where money was super tight and the money that could be allocated towards a gift on Christmas was very constricted, but it was still the whole point of the season was still that act of giving. To give to someone else the surprise and the joy on their face when they saw what their significant other had given to them, which I didn't see very often because I'm like the worst. I am the most inept gift giver on earth.
well, that's why I sent you a list, and my instructions were do not defer from this list. That's probably not the right word either, but don't
Deviate.
deviate. Thank you. Don't deviate from this list. I'm asking. This is a list that you can use for Christmas, for my birthday, for whatever. But these are the things I want. If you go to the website and you're like, oh, well, this is kind of like what's on her list, I think I'll get that one instead, I will be upset because no, I want that.
But I was
I
left.
tried to make it easy for you.
You did for the
Okay.
first time in years. But I was left completely on my own to figure out stocking stuffers. So there's still an opportunity for me to swing and miss on this one. I still contend when you see the stocking stuffers, I'm hoping for a chuckle.
Well, see, and that's the thing. One of the things that's changed in our house is we are not having to sneak around and pretend that we are a overgrown elf trying to, whatever.
Guy with the beard and
Yeah.
Santa's little helper.
Yes, trying to pretend that we're that person. And so the stockings are all already stuffed. Got that out finally. The presents are already wrapped under the tree. My almost teenage daughter even told me that we bought her too much for Christmas, which to me I'm going like, oh no 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 no. In my head I'm like, no, you need two or three more. You need two or three more gifts. I know. See, that's something that I battle with. But this year was better. I actually he's so sweet, y'all. We were in the store and she had asked for a second set of ear earphones, things, something that she can
Bluetooth earbuds.
yeah, earbuds, Bluetooth earbuds, not the $200 Apple ones, but the $30 ones from Target. Anyway, she has one. She wants one for school, and she wanted a pair that she could keep at home because back and forth sometimes they get lost. And so we passed them in Target, and I was like, "Oh, let's go on and get this." And Phil goes, "Gillian, she has this and this and this, and she's gonna get this. Why don't you just let her come and pick these out if she wants them?" And I was like, fine, we won't get that. it was really hard for me to walk away from that little kiosk, that little thing. So we go, Piper and I go into the store,
Like 3 days later,
past this little kiosk that has the Bluetooth earbuds, and she goes, Mom, I really need another, can I have another pair of earbuds? I really need another pair. And I was like, why don't you just wait? Why don't you just wait for Christmas? And then we got halfway around the other side of the store, and I said, go get the earbuds. Just go pick them out and pick out which ones you want, and I'll go on and get them for you. I know, I'm a sucker. I am a sucker.
you are a sucker.
But it wasn't one more gift under the tree. At that point, it had just become a part of
Random.
her school supply list.
Yeah. Well,
That's how I justified it. Girl math.
but I think what Piper is, I think the point Piper is reaching is one of like, I mean, she's maturing, she's growing up. As much as we don't like to throw around the G word, like, she's about to be 13 years old here in a couple of months. And I feel like she's reaching a point where she's prioritizing things that have more durability and long-standing meaning to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the number of things that are, I want to say, seasonal. The number of things that like, oh, this would be fun. This would be fun for a little while, but I know I'm gonna outgrow it. Those are getting fewer and fewer as time goes on.
Yeah. We don't have a mound up half the wall in her bedroom of stuffed animals anymore.
Yes, because everywhere that little girl went for a lot of her childhood, she had to buy a new stuffed animal. And then come Christmas time, Gilly and I'd be bagging half of them up and donating them, to like whatever the Toys for Tots type of organization is around here, so that underprivileged kids could have them. But I kept telling Gillian, I'm like, babe, why are we buying like 20 or 30 stuffed animals a year when we both know they don't stick around?
Because mom guilt.
Because mom guilt and maybe a little bit of childhood, I don't want to say childhood trauma, but like that was a thing in your family growing up where you were
Overabundance.
you were the real life version of who was the character from Willy Wonka, the one that was like,
Oh, I want it now.
yes,
I was
except
not.
that
I was not
no,
that girl.
not that girl. I'm sorry, not Willy Wonka. The
I don't know who you're
I'm
talking
drawing
about.
a blank. Point is, like, it was a thing in your house where like everyone had to have just this mound of presents. It didn't matter if it caused the family to go into debt. It didn't matter what bill had to get deferred. It was this constant like barraging of stuff.
Yeah, I even had to have that conversation as an adult child with my parents 2 nights ago. They got all this medical stuff coming up, and mom's medical is ongoing. Well, dad's about to enter the ring as a heavyweight champion.
Player two has entered the ring.
And his comment to me was, because I asked him, I said, please make sure all the monthly bills are paid before you go in for this surgery because it's going to be tough. And he goes, well, I think I'm going to defer some of these medical bills so that we can get y'all Christmas. And I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not only am I a 40-year-old woman who doesn't need a Christmas gift from my mom and dad anymore, I said, I am not buying my sister's Christmas gifts. I'm not buying their husbands' gifts. I'm not buying my nieces and nephews' gifts. I said, the only people that I'm focusing on this Christmas is Phil and Piper. I said, we already, it's not like we're in the poorhouse, but funds are always tight, especially around this time of year. But I said, I'm not buying y'all a Christmas gift. Stop doing this. You were 72 years old. Stop trying to buy Christmas gifts, 1,000 Christmas gifts for everyone. That is not what any of us need.
Well, and my spiel is constantly, if you spend from one end, you take from somewhere else. Like that.
That's exactly what he said. I'm not going to pay the medical bills so that we can buy y'all Christmas. No.
And that sounds like, for a lot of people,
No.
that sounds like a no duh Phil moment, but like, you'd be shocked how many people in the world think that there's a way to cheat the system and, like rob Peter to pay Paul so they can have things that they probably can't afford. And if they be honest with themselves, they know they can't afford. But, like,
Consumerism.
yeah. Well, and not only that, but there's I don't know whether to attribute it to like cultural norms or societal pressure or whatnot, but like there is that pressure. Like I have to give gifts even if I can't afford it. But my point of view has always been that like no, like the greatest gift you can give me and yourself is to be an adult. And if that means you got bills to pay, pay the bills. Like give me a call or a text on Christmas morning and say, "Hey, thinking of you, love y'all, miss y'all." And that's
Yeah.
fine. Like to me, past the gift giving, like the thing that's always meant the most to me about Christmas is having time with the family. Because there were years where you and I did not get to spend Christmas Day together because
You were gone,
I
or
was
you were at work, or
there were a lot of years that the two of us both worked, either one or both of us worked on Christmas Day. And like it was just one of those things. That's why to me, I look at moments like what's coming up in 3 days. And what I look forward to the most is watching you and Piper unwrap presents, sitting here in my pajamas with a cup of coffee in my hands, and just spend that time with y'all. I don't care what's in those boxes.
oh, you will.
Hold on, you didn't let me finish.
All right, finish.
I don't care what's in those boxes. I don't care what's under the wrapping paper. I don't care who else we see on that day. The two people I'm going to spend that day with are going to be the greatest gift to me, and I understand how incredibly freaking sappy that sounds.
That's sweet.
It's very sappy.
It is.
But that's what means more to me. Like I've spent Christmases in combat zones. I've spent Christmases on flight lines. I've spent Christmases at work. And now I'm at a point in my life where like, I have kind of a big boy white collar job where I'm off every Christmas. And I recognize that blessing and I'm appreciative of it because I
Mm-hmm.
know that out there there's a lot of people that are still going to be working on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I try to prioritize things that way in my head. Like this thing that I'm getting that costs nothing, by the way, is the greatest gift.
Yeah.
And all these other things are cool, but it's not the greatest gift.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I still have that whole there's not enough presents under the tree kind of thing. It was really, really nice and uh kind of like it kind of made my head twist a little bit. I'm like, wait, what? When Piper said y'all got me too many things for Christmas. And she probably has 6 gifts under the tree. Like it's not like there's a mound of presents underneath that Christmas tree. And then one of them is from Stuart. The biggest box under the tree for her is from Stuart. I think Phil addressed it from Old Grump. Anyway,
You're welcome, bud. I gotcha.
to Princess Booger Butt, which is Piper's has been Piper's nickname for quite some time from Stuart.
Yeah, Piper was not amused. Stuart laughed when I told him.
Yeah, so she wanted to open it immediately, but it is a tradition. When Stuart sends those gifts, they go under the tree and they wait until Christmas Day.
So I know I understand that there are other families that have this thing where like if someone mails you a present, you can open it immediately. Or on Piper's been trying to finesse us for
For
about
years.
well, I was gonna say for the last week, but yes, for years about like, well, can we open one present on Christmas Eve? And I'm like, no, it's Christmas Eve. You're supposed to do this on Christmas Day. And
But she does open presents before Christmas. She opened her gift from Ross and Becca last night, which was an amazing gift. I was a little jealous and brought back to my teenage years. They got her a pair of Doc Martens, which was nice.
can you wear
Black combat
can you
boots.
wear Doc Martens or would they
Yeah.
mess your ankle up?
No, I wear boots.
Then why don't you go buy a pair?
I don't know. Cause I have trouble spending money on myself.
Which is why
Okay, I'm gonna say this, and this is probably gonna be like very telling for myself. I got a new toothbrush. I don't like my toothbrush.
New toothbrush, guys, big spender.
I know. For myself, I don't like it because the bristles are too hard and it doesn't suds up like I like my toothpaste to suds up.
Then go get another one.
I thought about that. But to myself, I said, no, this brush is brand new and it works just fine. It cleans my teeth exactly like it should. So I don't spend money on myself. The other day we went into Old Navy. I went in to go find
Her closet says otherwise.
my closet has clothes in it from college.
And also clothes you bought and never worn.
No, there's clothes in there. There's not any of those.
There has been in the past.
Well, a lot of that stuff is already like hand-me-down clothes. It's clothes that I bought from a thrift store or it's clothes that friends have given me. And now Piper and I are almost the same size. She goes in there and shops through my closet.
By the way, guys, for those of you out there, men who have daughters, that is a weird experience when all of a sudden you realize your wife and daughter are about this close to wearing the same size clothing. It's going to make laundry day hell for me.
Well, I mean, it's not like we live 2 miles away from each other. We literally live across the hall from each other, and she throws things on our bed, and I throw things on her bed.
I'm just going to
Here,
make...
babe, I think these are your underwear. Those are my socks. Can I have those socks back? Oh, I think that's my jacket. Can I have that jacket? That's mine. And then she's like, hey, Mom, do you want these pants? And I'm like, sure, I'll take them. And then I'm like, Piper, I don't really like these pants. Do you want these pants? She's like, yes, I really like those.
Anyway.
It's just how it happens. I'm sorry. But yes, no. So, Joe, I don't buy myself new stuff until it's absolutely necessary. We went into Old Navy the other day. I went in for, I don't even remember what I went in for. It's one specific thing, but I found a pair of boots that don't irritate my scar on my leg. And so I bought them in 2 colors and I went to the register and it was over $100, which made me cringe. Ugh. Really puts a pit in my stomach. And I just kept saying out loud, I never buy myself anything. I never take care of myself. I'm doing this for myself. And feels like you are, pay the ticket and let's go. Kind of thing.
The same way she does me about guns is usually the way I have to do her about pretty much everything else. Because she and I have had this very vigorous discussion about the fact that, like, I will wear pants until the crotch blows out of them, socks until they have holes in them, shoes until my toes are touching the ground through the soles. Like, I wear things to destruction. I don't replace stuff because, like, oh, it's not in style, or oh, it got a little faded. It's like, no, it's serviceable, it works, move forward. Like, I have other things to deal with. But then Captain Gunnut over here is like, ooh, that Beretta shotgun's only $1,100, and I know I'm going to spend $600 worth of ammo on it, almost immediately. And this one's like, just go get the stupid thing.
Do you have the money? Go get it. But I can't tell myself that.
That's why I have to tell you that.
So anyway, there's that. There's, I don't know, I guess maybe that is like, I hate always saying childhood trauma because it's such a word, but maybe
Learned behavior, maybe.
well, what I'm trying to get at is I don't want to ever get in the position where we make pretty good money,
We do.
but we're still fishing out coins in the couch kind of thing. I don't ever want to get there. That's how I grew up, and I don't want that. So I'm like, but
the thing of it is that, like, and not to brag, yes, I have, between the two of us, we have a better household income than, I don't know, probably 70% of our age group. We're doing pretty okay for ourselves. We're not rich. We don't have private island FU money, private plane money, but we live very comfortably. We have money in the bank. We don't have any debt except for the house. We're in really good shape.
well, that's because we don't live outside our means.
That's the key. But that doesn't come from, oh, I'm never going to spend money on myself. It comes from, I have X amount a month I can afford to spend on myself, so that you don't spend your checking account down to zero 2 days before every payday. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't remember what it was, but recently there was a moment where we thought like, oh well, there's gonna have to be a big chunk of money taken out and this that, and the other, and I was like, babe, don't worry about it. The money's there. If if we need if I need to go raid an emergency fund to make something big happen all of a sudden, we can do that.
Is that from my PTO? Is that what you're talking about?
I know that was one of the things that came up was a possibility that if depending on how much time you have to take off, your paycheck might get cut. And I was just like, okay, screw it, your paycheck gets cut. Like,
Yeah, but
I don't,
that's scary to me.
I understand, but it's one of those situations where it's like my initial worry is not, oh, how am I going to pay the bills? That will not be a worry of mine unless this goes on for like 9 months.
Mm, we'll see. I don't know. I only have 11 hours of PTO left for this school year. At our school, we only get 8 days of PTO. Uh, so when you get sick or when your child gets sick or something like that, PTO runs pretty quick through our, with our teachers. Um, so yeah, so unfortunately, if you go over your PTO, your pay is docked for that day. And I have a feeling that that's going to happen to me this year, which has never happened before. Last year, I got paid out for my PTO, but this year, that's not the case. It will not be the case.
It'll get taken care of.
So, but yeah, so that's why I don't spend. But I'm also, what?
Hold up. Before we move forward, there's two
Joe's
things.
comment?
Well, yeah, first of all, Joe's comment. Tools don't count as frivolous and guns are tools. I agree with you. I don't really want to ever add up how much money I have sitting in that garage in tools, power tools, and other things I use to fix stuff around the house. But the other thing I was going to say was Stuart said y'all are the enablers for each other. An enabler has a bad connotation depending on how you use it. But in this case, I think it's more. I don't ever want to say that like you and I have to give each other permission to spend money. But I feel like you and I almost like look for permission from the other. You know what I'm saying? Permission may not even be the right
I don't
word.
think it's permission. I think the two of us, even though, so we don't have joint accounts, which is one thing we never did.
But what I mean is like you feel like you need permission from yourself, not from me.
Well, yeah, maybe I'm asking you because I need you to tell me that it's okay.
I'm trying to help you override yourself.
Yes.
Because you don't want to spend the money. So that's what I meant by permission. It's like it's not like you need permission from me to spend money.
Encouragement. We
Yeah,
do a lot of encouragement, Stuart.
yes. But I know that I have to do that because and it also works the other way. Like leading up to Christmas, you were talking about getting me stuff, and I'm like, babe, do not spend a lot of money on me. Do not spend a lot of money on me. Spend the money on stuff you need. Spend it on stuff for Piper. I'm fine. I take care of myself. I have everything I could possibly need and most things that I wanted. So I had to I have to encourage you to spend money on yourself and then constantly like pull the reins back when you try to spend money on everybody else.
That's true. That's true. It's like when I know that we're going to get a gift for Christmas, like I have to get a gift for that person. I don't know. It's just something, I don't know. Maybe I'll get past it one day. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was like Christmas traditions. And I know we only have about 10, 15 more minutes,
We
but
can go over if we need to.
well, eventually I'm going to need to visit the restroom because
Like that.
I have this giant, what is this? A slim? I don't know. It was a gift from one of my students, and it's 40 ounces of water, and I've already gone through half of it this
It's
morning.
deceivingly large. Because like it's as
huge.
narrow as it is, it holds a ton of liquid.
But yeah, Christmas traditions. And so we've kind of talked about some Christmas traditions, and things have kind of been a little different in our house this year. And if you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, you probably understand those Christmas traditions. But last night we kind of got into the whole, I guess you could say, pagan part of Yule, and not really Christmas, because Christmas, the word is a Christian term for this time of year. But it's really cool to go into like research of what other cultures do around the world. at this time of year, because not everyone is a Christian and they don't all celebrate the same way. It's like we have in this house, we have really been fascinated, not that we didn't already know about this, but really fascinated by Krampus.
We've been watching a lot of Supernatural lately, so like all of like the old monster myths. Matter of fact, Piper got extraordinarily aggravated
Yeah.
the other day because we were watching an episode that centered around the myth of the Rougarou, which anybody in Southeast Louisiana is fairly familiar with, and the characterization of the Rougarou in Supernatural was not
It
the
was
old.
not it. They didn't.
It was not the old Cajun French
No.
myth, and Piper was very angry.
I was a little upset too. And like, what is this? This is BS. This is not the Rougarou. This is not what the Rougarou does.
Piper was a little more than a little upset.
Yeah, she was really miffed. But anyway, so Christmas traditions, and it's not necessarily something that we will always do in this house, but yesterday we celebrated the winter solstice. And during the summer, I celebrated the summer solstice. And I can remember when I think I was like a teenager, maybe in my early 20s, my aunt got married on the summer solstice, and I didn't think anything of it. But I'm very much driven by the sun. Like I get seasonal affective disorder. Not get it, but like I have that. I always have as a child. Winter comes around, I get super depressed and anxious and all those things, and it's because of the lack of sunlight. It's not having enough time to go outside and actually put my body in a stream of sunlight to warm myself, to get vitamin D, extra vitamin D, things like that. And so I go through this phase. And then, of course, like when the sun is setting, I don't know, maybe other people who have this go through this too, but right before the sun sets, like I can tell that the light is changing. I get very anxious, like have panic attacks because the sun is setting. And in my head, I'm going, the day is over. Like I have to go to sleep now. I'm not tired. And so I start like, going crazy about the solstice. I'm not the solstice, the sun setting so early. I hate it. I don't like short days. I don't like long nights. But last night I kind of embraced it a little bit. And, last night was the winter solstice, so it was the longest night of the year in the northern hemisphere and the shortest day. So I was like, we're going to do this because I know it's the shortest day. The sun is going to set about 4:30, which is like, what
Which
is
was
that?
wild.
I was falling asleep in the chair outside at 6:30. I don't know what that was about, but we just kind of thought about traditions of cultures that celebrate the solstice. I've been reading up. I read about all of the festivities that happened at Stonehenge yesterday, which is always incredible to me to think that, you know, the Christian Christmas has been happening for not 2,000 years, but, a little less than that. But celebrating the solstice has been happening for 5, 6, 7,000 years. It's been a tradition, maybe even longer than that, because it wasn't like people who lived 10,000 years ago were stupid. They understood the cosmos. They understood the sun and the moon and the stars and all that stuff. They understood all that. Yeah, hello darkness, my old friend.
Now
Now
I'm
I'm
seeing
seeing you
you
at
at 5
5 p.m.
p.m.
I don't like it, Stuart. But I thought I've always been really interested in that, and I've kind of said this back and forth on the Raising Values patron chat. I've always questioned Christianity. I've always questioned what I was raised on and the things I was taught and everything. And in my now I'm in my 40s. This has been such an incredible year for me. I've become a lot braver in accepting the things that I've always known to be true, and to question the things that I've always been scared to question. And so the answers that I have found for myself, now this is just for myself. I'm not suggesting that anyone else follow the same path that I did or ask the same questions that I did or whatever. But for myself, I have really learned that pagan belief, that druid belief of the solstices it's really powerful when you start to think about it. It's almost like I was telling Becca last night. This is basically the new year. We celebrate New Year's based on the Gregorian calendar, but this in like the universe, as far as our Earth is concerned, this is the new year, because this is where the Earth starts to tilt back towards the sun. This is when the days start to get longer, and sunlight stays around longer. But right now we're in winter, and so what I tried to really focus on yesterday was in the winter months, nature knows what it's doing. It's supposed to get cold. The days are shorter, all that stuff. And so I started thinking about, well, what do other animals do during the winter? Well, this is a time for rest. This is a time to recharge. This is a time to protect your energy and things like that. And that is literally what nature does. That's what trees are doing. That is what animals are doing. They're resting, they're recharging, they're getting rid of excess and waste and all that stuff. And humans are like the only people that don't do that anymore. We don't take this time to just recharge. And now I know that in 2 weeks, recharging is going to be difficult. And so I thought, I really need to focus tonight on what this day is supposed to represent, what this day is supposed to mean for the people and the animals and the nature that live on Earth, and probably follow that, because there's a reason that this is happening. And then seek comfort in the fact that the days are going to start getting longer again, and sunlight is going to return. And it's really a celebration of the return of the sun, that the days are going to get longer, and that your gardens will grow, and be able to harvest again, and you won't be as cold, and all those things will happen. And so so that's what I was focusing on. And I thought, what a really cool thing that we don't let me think about this. There are some families that believe that one way is the only way, and I'm usually it's the Christian faith and things like that, but they don't explore other cultures and traditions with their children. Well, that is something that I don't want to happen in this house. I want Piper to know that, hey, look, this is what people in India do at this time of year. This is what people in France do at this time of year, and this is what we do in America. And this is the major celebration. These are some old traditions that have been forgotten, or maybe they've been not demonized, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like, the traditions have been made to
Have a negative
carry
connotation.
negative connotations and things like that. But let's deep dive into what are these traditions, and what do they what are these traditions, and what do they really mean, kind of thing. I want her to be well versed in what happens.
Less, to use the $10 word, less ethnocentric, where like she only sees the world from her lens.
Right. Yeah. So
Stuart is disagreeing with you.
sorry, they don't recharge during winter. They go dormant, living off stored reserves. In spring, they recharge. Yes, but you know what I mean, Stuart.
She's wording.
I was just trying to get it out of my chest, out of my brain. Anyway, so I thought that was really cool. So we still celebrate the regular traditions. We still have stockings and Santa and, all of the decorations and all that stuff. But it was just something really cool. Yesterday was a beautiful day, and it was the winter solstice. And so there you go. That's what we did. New celebrations, new traditions.
That reminds me, we need to go get these errands run before it gets dark at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Ew, why would you even say that? Oh man, half the day is already gone.
But
Hibachi.
before, okay, so are we going to do hibachi for lunch
I
or
don't
for early dinner
I don't know.
in the dark?
Anyway, I think it would be really cool well, we're running out of time and my bladder is full. And um, maybe this is a discussion for the patron chat, or maybe this is another episode. But I would have loved to have everyone comment what their traditions were and how they differ and things like that. But I think that really is a longer show that needs to be done on another time. So anyway, there you go. Christmas is upon us. Whenever you get to listen to this or hear this or whatever, we do wish you a very Merry Christmas, happy holiday, or whatever you celebrate. Have a great time with your family, friends, and whatever. And we will see you next week, but remember that that will be our last episode for a little while. So,
Yeah, and matter of fact, I anticipate still go on along as scheduled. It'll just be raising value so that Gillian can take a step back and deal with, adulting things.
adulting things. So, anyway.
Dadgummed adulting.
All right, guys, we will see y'all next week. I hope y'all have a great Christmas with your family and friends, and that's it.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.